Hello and welcome back to 922. We will be finishing off the visual novel with the last chapter. So, if you recall, in the previous chapter we found out that Mr. Fisher, aka Spencer's grandfather, is somehow involved in everything that is going on. And yes, he did end up disposing of his grandson. He kind of sort of wants to do that with his remaining grandson, or the remaining version of him, as well as his friend Kurt. And if he could probably end up doing it to everyone, but of course, that might cause some problems. He, and I believe it was hinted at, is responsible for the death of Spencer's father. And that has some very interesting implications, but yeah. It also seems like the reason why other Spencer was killed had to do with the fact that Mr. Fisher is somehow related to Spencer's father's death. Also, there's two Kurts in this current world, because apparently there's two worlds. There's World A and there's World B. And depending on where you are, you're either on A or B, and depending on what happens in the world will sync to either or's, whatever it is that's happening on that world at that time. But yeah. Also, it seems that there isn't supposed to be two versions of that person in one world. And that's why Kurt is acting a little weird right now. And also because Kurt and Spencer went through the tunnel, and I'm assuming other Spencer also went through the tunnel first. I believe so. The people in the town right now, where they are sort of having this weird little thing where they're not functioning properly. It's kind of like they have a hangover, and that they lost a little bit of brain cells. And that apparently, according to Mr. Fisher, is all because of Spencer and the Kurtz having crossed over. Anywho, we also got a little bit of scattered flashes to Mr. Fisher's past when he was working on the project and stuff like that. The fact that even then he was sort of he didn't really care what was actually happening. He was just more interested in what they could do with the tunnel, but not so much the ramifications of what would happen because of using the tunnel. He is aware that using it incorrectly or whatever will cause things to happen within the town or in the world at large, but he doesn't really care, apparently, when he uses it. But yeah, anyway, so as I said, this is the last chapter, and we're gonna read straight through it like the previous one. If it ends up being longer than an hour and a half, then it's gonna be longer than an hour and a half, because that's usually the cutoff before I turn it into 2 episodes. Anyways, but yeah, so without further ado, let us finish out 922. People handle grief in interesting ways, don't they? Some are overcome with anger, lashing out with little regard for themselves or those around them. Some, less emotional, take a more methodical approach and seek to hold whoever is responsible liable to their actions. Others refuse to accept the presented reality and look for deeper answers. Others still take it as an opportunity to better themselves in case they could prevent a future misfortune. And then there are those who obsess. Those who spend years and years condemning the victim in blind belief that they could have prevented their own death, telling themselves that their lives would have been so much better had the victim not died. I'd imagine that such people, once they snap out of it, must feel like right idiots, spending so much of their life on a premise that may not even be true. A sheet of light glows brightly on my arms as I make my trek. Not a cloud in the sky. The air is warm and stifled, as if it gorged itself on deli meat and is now worried that it'll hurl if it moves too fast. It's 9 a.m. on a Thursday. Such a weird nothing time. Everyone's already either at school or work, or had altogether decided the day is not worth it. There's no one around to avoid eye contact with, The only sound is a shuffle of the occasional car in some nearby street. The guards promptly end their conversation the moment that I come within eyeshot. A new pair of guards, a different pair with smaller guns, and uniforms that are less black. They stand at attention and listen when I tell them my name. I'm here for Nelson Fisher, I say. Is this the right place? I have an appointment with him. Well, what do you know? My unruly grandson decided to show up after all. You aren't that thick in the head, I don't believe. Neither do I take you for the type to have given it all up. So I have to wonder. Are you here to bargain? Could it be that you've done something that you wish that you had not? You wouldn't be the first. Otherwise, I hope that whatever scheme you and your little friends have cooked up holds water. 'Cause, you see, your mirror took no time at all to figure it out. What happens to people who die inside the gate? Hadn't seen Andrew since... She tongues at her teeth like she's trying to suck something out from between them. 2 weeks ago, Wednesday, he's been tutoring freshmen this year. Maybe someone at the math facility knows. Neither Kurt nor Andrew answer their phones. Can't blame them. After everything, I wouldn't answer me either. It does force me to go through the inconvenience of seeking them out, though. Gosh, Andrew Park, He frowns down at his fingers as they drum lightly on the keyboard. Sorry, bud. Yeah, he's been here, but I haven't seen him lately. Did you try the council? My hands are cool and dry in my pockets. I've all but forgotten about my breath. It's steady. I don't have to think about it. Chatting up these strangers is no big deal. What's the worst that could happen? They think that I'm a prick? Not like I ever had any issue with that. What? Young man, I am not Park's guardian. If you miss him so much, why don't you try calling him? Anything else? No? Then excuse me. You're making me late. Forget it. The 8th time is just as pointless as the 7th. I no longer have the patience to wait for it to get to the answering machine. Desperate times call for desperate measures, I suppose. I pull a folded out flyer out of my pants pocket. Had to dig to the bottom of the drawer to find it. It's the pamphlet Andrew gave me on the way back on the day that we first met. Andrew has 2 numbers written next to his name. One of them is the one that I have saved on my phone, but the other one is some unknown thing. Doesn't look like a landline, but... Hope that his mom doesn't answer. Actually, who cares? Huh. Where's that coming from? Let's try that again. coming from the classroom right there. Andrew? I listen in closely for half a minute. Come in. Yo. How's it going? I'm good. How about you? Good. Cool. You, Andrew? Fantastic. Andrew's standing in between a couple of desks aligned to form a semicircle around him. There is a cardboard box on one of them, and besides it are a myriad of documents, folders, and binders organized into tall stacks. I recognize a few of them from the night of the three of us spent in a cabin on Ian's birthday. Nostalgic. So... I nod towards Andrew. You two are still on that? Huh? Oh, no. I'm just helping Andrew pack his stuff. What? Did he get fired or something? He stepped down. Andrew slaps the papers that he's holding softly down on the table and straightens up. That's right. My apologies, Spencer. I'm afraid that I will no longer be able to provide you with tutoring. Leslie Carter will be taking my place. She had already been updated with your academic status, along with a written record of my impressions. She's a great tutor and a personal friend of mine. You're in good hands. Oh. Thanks? Why'd you quit? What do you think? Andrew's papers fan Kurt dismissively. It's all right. I don't mind explaining such things. If, of course, you care to hear it. I'll hear it. What's up? Nothing has changed from your end, has it? Kurt takes a step back to blow a cloud of smoke towards the back of the room. I have been informed on the details of your latest exploits. You understand. And, as you put it, nothing has changed. Professor Reed, my supervisor, hadn't made any signs that anything is off. Suspiciously so, as though he is completely blind to anything that's been going on. Difficult to say if he truly is. Regardless, it appears that he's perfectly content with letting me carry on with my job. And I could carry on with it, in theory. Is that what you propose that I do? I guess. So, what? You finally got sick of Reed? Is that it? Yes. He takes a deep breath and then blows it out through his cheeks. You would not believe how very much so. I wouldn't doubt it. So, what will you do now? What will I do? Regarding what? Are you leaving the council too? I am. Doesn't that interfere with your, honor student thing? It does. So? So what? Spencer, what are you actually asking about? Huh. I'm just making conversation. You are just making conversation? The corners of his mouth tighten. Sorry. I shouldn't be taking it out on you. As I am sure that you can tell, I'm a touch frustrated over the entire thing. Reed is merely the tip of the iceberg for my choice. I'm planning to move. You're leaving? Fleeing, I'm sure you want to say. Suppose that I understand where you're coming from. It does seem like I have been implicitly pardoned. Technically speaking, I have got very little involvement in, Mr. Fisher's affairs compared to you two. I could leave at any moment, truth be told. My one remaining semester here is mainly for show. My inbox is chock full of offers from either coast. Were I to drop everything and relocate, it is unlikely that my life would not be comfortable. My parents have always wanted to move, and I had confirmed with them that they still do, so that's not an issue either. But you haven't until now. And now I am. His palms rub for a few seconds on top of his desk, as if to wipe off some non-existent grime. This line of questioning is taking me a bit by surprise, I must admit. Are you, out of all people, implying that I should keep my job? It seemed pretty important to you. It was. And it isn't anymore? How should I put this? Well, Kurt had heard this story before, but let's say that when I was younger, I went through some troubling times. And as a result of those times, I put it into my head that if I just put my mind to it, if I'm just a bit better than everyone around, I might be able to live a happier life. It's not an uncommon sentiment. I'm sure that you would agree, and I don't claim that I have found it to be entirely incorrect. The problem lies in the path that I chose to implement it. There is no rung in the social ladder that you can rise to where you stop getting pushed around, as a younger me had hoped for. Even if you're the head of the facility themselves, a day will come when you will be forced to bend over backwards for some lawless crook. Oh. I'm sorry to hear that. Was the council that bad? The council? Oh, don't take it the wrong way. It is not like that. Not horrendously so, anyway. I wouldn't have gotten where I am if I didn't consider at least a few of them my friends. I don't regret my time in the council, but it is time to move on. What about Ian? What about him? I'm getting worried, Spencer, but I'll answer the question. Regrettably, I had to embellish the story that I gave him, but I spoke with Ian and his parents. I believe that presently they're considering their options. It seems like Ian was notably unsurprised by my plea. Is it possible that you have spoken to him before me? Why are you so suddenly invested in where I go or don't go? Kurt stomps down on his spent cigarette butt and kicks it towards the back of the class. How much did you tell him? Everything. Everything? Don't tell me that you bought into Fisher's lame bluff. How much of everything? As much as I can remember. Did something possibly occur in the other world? Andrew stops to reflect on the world. Then he makes an exasperated noise out of the back of his throat and shakes his head. No. You know what? I don't want to hear it. You should be saluting me for not jumping on the nearest Greyhound and screaming all the way out of town. There is a hell device underneath the floorboards that has the power to manipulate reality itself by some inscrutable quantum logic. And our adversary, a literal murderer, is the one person who has managed to work it out. That is what this is about, is it not? What are you trying to lead me to talk about in that insufferable, fake way of yours? His teeth gnash shut as he looks down into his box for more words. Call me a coward if that's what you want. I would be telling a lie if I claimed that I am content with this decision. But what is left to do anymore? We poured through all the documents and put all the puzzle pieces together to form a complete picture. And to what end? Mr. Fisher has eyes and ears planted everywhere there's power, and he barely makes an effort to cover up that fact. I had planned to submit everything to the police, but if he can just undo it at will... He throws up his hands. So what? You're planning on staying? You aren't? Are you fucking insane? I'm not sure. Spencer, I hardly believe that you're here to ask us to stay. What is it that you want? You must have called me a dozen of times. I take a deep breath. Aside the multitudes of residential aches, there is no tightness in my muscles. My heart is soft, my nape is dry. There is no doubt remaining that this is what I must do. I have reason to believe Fisher's no more dangerous than just a murderer. I need your connections. I need your brains, both of you. Can I please ask for your help? Pardon? You want what? The gate, the RLG, whatever. He's learned how to manipulate it only a few years ago. On the other hand, everyone here lived as if weird shit had been going on for decades. That's what the gate does. It's organic. It reverberates backwards and changes the past in a way that only sort of makes sense if you don't think about it. All to keep both of its ends in sync. That is what he told you to, isn't it? He downplayed it and deflected his involvement with it. Made it sound like it was an inevitability, as opposed to something that he had intentionally done. I'm saying whole chunks of your life may have been false. False as in the gate made them. I mean, they're real now. Are you sure about this? Yes. Plenty of people have access to the basement at the Jefferson Building over the years. None of them had anything to do with it. How do you know? Or rather, me from the other world. That's not the only person he killed, not by a long shot. I don't know what his agenda is or how many people he got that way, but there is a reason why we never heard of any of them. He wiped them all out straight out of history. Those are some rather serious, Elliot. Fisher is expecting me to show up at the basement in a few days. If we're careful, and if we combine our efforts, I'm confident that we'll be able to catch him off guard. Answer the fucking question, Spencer. How the fuck do you know all of this? A needle shoots through my heart. No way out of it. I have to tell them. They should know. I remembered something. Same thing the other me remembered. We knew Fisher, sort of, for a few years. He killed my dad. I think that man has to be stopped. That scheme that me and my little friends cooked up? It's a surprise. Good morning, Grandpa. Before you shoot me, I have a couple of wonderings of my own. If you don't mind, of course. Why'd you kill me and why you'd kill Dad? I get it. Self-defense. You called it? I'll take it. It makes sense. We try to stop you and you prefer not to be stopped. Having said that, something's been bothering me. It wasn't Dad or me or anyone that we know that you started with. So what's the deal? Are you on a revenge plot or some similar stupid shit? Oh. Well. What an entrance. For a moment there I forgot which end of the gun was aimed at who. Are you sure that you're in any position to chit-chat so freely? You won't shoot me. Says who? I got a hunch. A hunch, huh? I heard that one before. He huffs out a small laugh under his breath. Fate must be whispering in your ear. What oppressive confidence, just like last time that we met here. How long have you been like this, I wonder? Maybe I should take you out of your misery. After all, the gate is under no obligation to bring you back. You read me like an open book. I won't shoot you. Not yet. Not before I tell you about me and about the gate. If there is a shred of chance that there is still some of you in there, Spencer, it's important that you hear it. Even if stalling me is part of your plan. I'll make it short. 40 years, Spencer. Do some quick math for me. How long was it that I left you on World A before you and Kurt Abrams concocted a whole Hollywood fairy tale to ram your way back to World B? 2 weeks? Doesn't feel very good, does it? To live your life out, to see yourself age all as if you're invisible. As if you're outside of reality, watching from the sidelines as your friends and family slowly forget who you are. If you need a pithy answer as to why I am how I am, that is it. That's how long I lived it. It was 40 fucking years. The 1971 incident had a cleanup crew assembled for it by the higher-ups. One bright morning, months after the incident, they called us all in. Everyone's jobs and outstanding missions were terminated immediately. They changed my name, handed me a booklet with my new identity, and assigned me to Group B. Group A were to stay on World A, and Group B on World B, until further notice. I had 48 hours to say my goodbyes to Betty and Michael. They really sold us on that until further notice business. We all fell for it. The physicists figured out the whole world-dominant world thing from the word go, but due to how the project was operating, they missed one crucial detail. See, back then, it wasn't like how it is now. Back then, people would enter and leave the RLG daily, often multiple times a day. The worlds used to realign seemingly at random. Sometimes World A would be dominant and the other times it would be World B. Once all activity ceased, however, he raised his eyebrows at me. The world got stuck. Exactly. World A became permanently dominant, which means that for the next 40 years myself and everyone else in Group B were stranded in pseudo-reality. You died. If I had a flair for the dramatic, I would call that an understatement. Betty was compensated for my disappearance, but they kept her in the dark. I wasn't there to watch my son grow. I wasn't there to be a husband for my wife. When Michael graduated college, got married, had you, I heard of it, but I wasn't there. Months turned to years and years turned to decades. I spent my 30s, 40s, 50s, and most of my 60s in the same routine. I'd wake up, watch sports, my shows and the news, and then go back to bed. Not much else you can do when anything you do disappears. A pathetic existence for a man made pathetic. And then, years after he lost hope, this old man noticed something. The pharmacist that I'd been buying Bengay daily for years from recognized me. He thought that I had dementia, told me that I already got my damn knee medicine yesterday. I went back to my apartment and there it was, on top of my desk. You will never experience as much joy as I had for this one tube of topical cream. So you call Dad? Don't be stupid. Of course not. What, you think that I'm the only one out of Group B who was unhappy with the administration? Many things happened over the years. I've had to figure it all out by myself. This pathetic man with this pathetic existence did have one thing going for him. Everything that I've ever done was pardoned and forgiven the next day. 40 years is a long, long time to learn, to experiment. I kept refining my methods and expanding my knowledge day after day and year after year. It is all in my head. Nothing that I wrote on paper would stick. When it finally happened, when I finally got my agency back, I set my plan into motion. Only then I called your dad. How'd it go for you? If you remember your father then you remember how it went for me, smartass. He and I got along about as well as you and I do. Couldn't get on the same wavelength, so to speak. God is my witness, we tried to make it work. I bet you've heard how hard we tried to make it work. Michael wasn't exactly a quiet man. My jaw tightens. So what? When Dad cut you off, you just decided to take it out on the town? On the administration. And no, not at first. Not at first? Don't get the wrong impression. Those people that I killed were corrupt and evil. There is no lens through which you'd look at would paint their death as anything but a net positive for society. You'll have to take my word for it. They deserve to die. Much like how I deserve to die. Wouldn't you agree? Despite how great it felt, I wasn't in it for some petty revenge. Then what was it? Your parents wanted nothing to do with me. Without a family and without any friends, there wasn't much left for me. I only have so many years remaining. The gate, the Rockland looking glass. It is a miracle device. The only thing that it can't do is bring someone back from the dead. And I found out its secret, how it determines which world to erase. Just by merit of having exclusive access to it for a few months. Suddenly, I had the means to change my past. A new idea came to mind. If I play my cards right, if I arrange for events to force the gate to alter history, I might be able to sculpt having lived the life that I never had. Needless to say, I have failed. I ran out of people to kill. If you came here to stop me, then you came here for nothing. I'm not killing anyone anymore. Ah, save for one. There's only one item remaining on my agenda, Spencer. Are you ready? Just about. A dense heatwave blasts my face, as if I'd walked into an oven. Some idiot must be overcompensating for the temperature outside. Superheated by the AC, the smell of industrial cleaner almost overwhelms the scent of fake pine from the Christmas decorations for sale already by the entrance. Save for the buzzing of the overhead fluorescent fixtures, it's dead silent. Far too cold for crickets and far too cold for anyone, no matter how hungry they are, to show up at a 7-Eleven at this time of the night. Surprisingly, my tuna sandwich is in front and center on the shelf here. I flip it to the ingredient list. Egg salad, tuna, mayo, corn, diced pickles. My beloved, here she is. Likewise, booze is uncomplicated. I weave through the aisles and pick up a couple of PBRs. The cashier is absorbed in his phone, so I have to wave my hand at him awkwardly for half a minute before he takes notice. Excuse me. Shoot, sorry sir. How may I... Oh. You're... alive? What do you want? Harsh. I want... Hi. I wanted you to know that I'm not dead yet. I told you, didn't I? I'm not that other Spencer that died on that day. Oh. Thanks, I guess. So, what are you gonna do? Did Andrew get you up to speed on what's going on? He rotates my sandwich in both hands until the barcode scanner dully beeps. We had a chat about it, yeah. Let me tell ya, my folks are not keen on packing their bags and leaving everything behind. We've been here for generations, you know. The plastic bag crinkles loudly as Ian pushes it around to make room for my beer. So... when is your flight? Monday morning next week. I pass him a $20 bill and the cash register pops open. He counts the cents and, when I refuse to take them, he dumps them into a Slurpee cup, labeled tips. Isn't that a bit late? Sorry, I'm out of the loop. Isn't your, in a couple of days? It is. Ian tears a receipt out of the cash register. You're crazy. It's not unlikely. He drops the receipt into my bag. My throat starts seizing up as I take in a deep breath to counteract it. Have a nice day? Actually... What? Hold on. I want to tell you something. And... after we acknowledge it, I want us both to forget it. So that we can move on with our lives. Got any time for that? I guess. What is it? I breathe in. I breathe out. It only aggravates the unease in my stomach. I have been... bad. Like, really bad. Towards you, I mean. Terrible. And I know that you never forgive me, but I want to apologize anyway. I mean, you said sorry so many times, and, I did too. But also I kind of didn't. Sort of. Just didn't seem fair, you know. No reaction. The AC must be somewhere overhead because the heat's getting unbearable. The collar of my shirt itches like crazy, and my palms are starting to sweat. I swallow. I'm sorry for, let's see. Well, first of all, for making you think that I'm gonna die. And for keeping you in the dark, until a few days ago. And it was not okay for me to run off like that, and I'm sorry. Truly and honestly. And I guess, in general, sorry for being kind of a fucker. Like, I didn't think of it like that at the time, but I might have led you on at one point. Maybe more than one point. I think you're kind of cool, Ian. You didn't deserve having to deal with my cold-ass shit. Sorry. That's what I wanted to say. Is that all? Sort of. I fight the urge to rub the stinging out of my eyes. Though I kinda thought that we could watch some anime together. Or something. You know, for old time's sake. I don't know. Let me check with my manager first. Not this. I think you're kind of cool, Ian. You pushover. Who sent you to beg for forgiveness with me this time around? Don't think that I've ever seen you so agitated. I... No one did. I just had a good night's sleep. Are you flying back to your mom? Yeah. Send me your address. I'll visit you over winter break. If you want, that is. I repositioned my face to speak more freely by dragging it across his jacket. That would be cool. Spencer? Yeah? What are you planning to do? I'm gonna confront Fisher. I hope that you know what you're doing. My chest expands against his. He smells like 2-in-1 shampoo. Ian, there's another thing that I want you to know. It's important. I'm not sure if it's how it works, but repeat it to yourself over and over. Write it down. Tell someone that you trust. Things are about to get fucky. How fucky? Unbelievably fucky. I squeeze him tighter to make sure that he hears it. But no matter what happens, I'll seek you out, alright? I won't let you become like one of those internet crazies that you love so much. I promise you that. I swear. That's ominous. I'll remember it. Thank you, Spencer. I think. Hey, I've been thinking. And stop me if I'm out of line, right? But this Fisher guy. What about him? Didn't he say that there used to be an entire organization working on the gate? Couldn't you just, I don't know, ask them for help? Ian. Andrew and Kurt are helping me out with this, you know. How stupid do you think we are? I see. That's unfortunate. Out of everything you could have come up with, it had to be that. What did I tell you, Spencer? Are your friends resourceful or what? I wonder, Grandpa. Do you remember Shirley Solis? You tried explaining it to me for the 15 minutes. Why you don't need the newspaper clippings anymore. Went right over my head. Unfortunately, besides that, lasers and quartz crystals are somehow involved. Real cool stuff. Seems like you pissed off a lot of people over the years. Once we got into contact with Barry O'Neill, it's like he had everyone on speed dial. Before you know it, like 20 of us were all at Alan's Gold house. Do these names sound familiar? They all know you. Truth be told, me and Kurt and Andrew barely had to do anything. These people, they had a plan at the ready. All they needed was a little push. A trigger. Some certainty that their target would be down here at a certain time. You really brought the band back together. Hadn't seen any of these faces in what seems like 40 years. How many bullets do you have in that gun of yours, Grandpa? No one here has a mirror, and we're all here on our own accords. Kill me if you must. It won't affect anything today. Aren't you clever? I'm afraid that I'm out of speeches. You got me good. I'll hand you that. My hat's off to you. My hat's off to all of you. Or perhaps to the universe itself. Put the gun down, Fisher. Shame. A real shame. See, I won't be able to tell you after all. No reason to with so many people around. Before we end our little get-together, let me ask you something. For my own sake. Aren't you curious? Don't you want to know how the gate works? I couldn't care less. That too is something that I've heard before. You turned out to be a real piece of shit, Spencer. Just like your dad. (9:22). And that was the story of 922. The ending was a lot shorter than I expected, but I guess because most of it was already covered in the previous chapter, and this one is just the conclusion, I guess. The natural conclusion. Mm, I don't think that there's anything after this, is there? Nope, that was it. For those going like, oh, but I wanted Spencer and Ian to end up together or whatever, well, there is still the option of them ending up together. It's just, Fisher took himself out. And that was basically the whole plan, to remove Fisher, who was manipulating both worlds and history, I guess, in a way, to do whatever it is that he wanted. But now that Fisher is no longer there, there is no one that knows how to manipulate history and the worlds, so everything is done. It is possible that anybody else that is in World B could continue to try to figure out what's going on, like, because the government says, like, hey, you people, I know you're stuck there, but, like, do you mind trying to figure out what Fisher was doing? But, like, I doubt it. If anything, they're probably gonna want to go, like, yeah, our bad. We didn't realize that sticking you there was gonna erase you from time and space. So, like, how about, like, you stay there if you want, or you, like, cross over and then we'll be like, oh yeah, they mysteriously reappeared. Ooh, or something. Because it looks like World A is the permanent world now. And as long as you remain there, then that's it. And with Fisher gone, it's just the thing of having the people that were involved in the project to find a way to seal off the project, the tunnel, I guess, and just keep people from being able to cross, like, at all, forever and ever and ever. Just leave it to be buried away. And but yeah, like I said with Ian and Spencer, like, since Spencer presumably survives this, he goes back home and eventually Ian and Spencer reconnect again. And well, I mean, they technically are promising to keep in touch, I guess, in a way. And Ian goes and visits Spencer, and maybe or maybe not, they continue whatever it is that they were thinking that they had. Maybe some relationship, maybe not a relationship, maybe just really good friends. Because the dream of Spencer and Ian making out in front of Todd um technically did happen, but it was just erased because it was, in that world that keeps getting overwritten. Um so there is the possibility there. It just depends on how those two progress with their relationship. And then there is Kurt and Andrew. There is it sort of seemed like there was something hinted between the both of them that it went further past just a working relationship. It seemed more like they had a thing, but like neither of them acknowledged it. Because like Andrew said, like, I'm straight. Like, there's a lot of things that you could be and still be straight and still be with Kurt. Um, but yeah, this I have a vague feeling will remind some people of some of those stories, and particular, funnily enough, like Password. And I know some people didn't like Password. Um, and I'm in the camp of like, with some rewriting and some alterations, it could be a better story. And that's coming from somebody that's friends with Grizz and that did like the story. Is just like, you know, anyways, but like I could see some comparisons between that and this one, and then some other um actual games that kind of have like this type of premise. And yeah, pretty sure some of you people are already like, oh, like, this reminds me of this game. I wonder if it's gonna go down like this game. And like, yeah, probably. But yeah, I'm glad that I read it. I'm glad that I waited until they had officially finished the ending, because it went on hiatus for like a whole year. And I was like, I don't want to just read it and then have to wait until they finish the ending, because then I was going to be like, I read it up to the point where it was there, and then now I have to wait like a whole year, and then like people would be like, oh, like, where is this? I don't remember this. This sounds like a visual novel from like a year ago. It's like, well, now I just read it all for you. But yeah, anyways, I hope you guys liked it. I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was a little screwy, but like, I like visual novels that are like that. I like stories that are like that are not just like some clear-cut little thing that takes you from point A to point B and you get a boyfriend along the way. Like, no, just, I need a little bit more than that. I need to be a little bit confused. I need to be sitting there and wondering what's going on, at least while I'm reading it. But anyway, so yeah, so that was 922, and thank you all for watching/listening. If you'd like to play 922 yourself, you can do so by going down to the link in the description, which should have a direct link for the itch.io page where you can download the game and play it yourself. They do not have any form of support, but here's to hoping that they do something else, some other visual novel. It was a very simple visual novel with mostly free-to-use music with very simple artwork, but it worked. It worked for me, at least. And I hope that they continue to do more things like this in the future, hopefully. Like I said, I really liked it, so I wouldn't mind more. And if they ever decide to open up a Patreon for, like, to support another visual novel, then, you know, I might consider it. It would be very, it would be something that I would like to support if it's like more interesting things like this. But yeah, so all my other pertinent links down in the description. In case you want to become a channel member and view the videos that are scheduled before, they go public. The link will be down there. It does help the channel because it is like you do have to kind of pay for it. Only like $3, I think. Ko-fi's there in case you want to, just do like a one-time donation. And there is, Throne in case, you feel so inclined. Some people felt so inclined last year. It was very nice of them. Anyways, but yeah, so I guess that's it for now, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.